What's going on, DGen Nation? Back with another video. About to hop into a Best Ball Mania 4 draft. The draft just filled, and I am picking out of the 11 spot. Man, I have not had much luck lately with my picks. I'm picking at the 9, 10, 11 spot for the last 5 or 6 drafts. So this is going to be my 57th BBM4 team. Just want to do a quick rundown before we get started. I'm going to give my top 5 exposures so far. So let's see. My most exposed player right now is Hunter Renfroe, 40%. Second most, Tyquan Thornton, 28%. Third, Mike Evans, 22%. Fourth, Zach Charbonnet, 22%. And fifth, Michael Mayer, 22%. So most of the time you're looking at guys who are picked in the later rounds as your most exposed guys. You're not, your variance as to where you're picking in the beginning of the draft is going to be all over the place. So that's why you don't see all the time someone with like 30%, Justin Jefferson, unless they get extremely lucky with the first overall pick. So you don't see that very often. It's more of those late round guys who you find to be a value. That's why I have a lot of Renfroe. Renfroe last year was going in like the 8th round, 9th round. So grabbing him there wasn't the greatest selection. He did disappoint. But now with him going in like the 15th, 16th round, it's much more palatable to grab him there. So that's why I've been scooping up a ton of him. I do think he has a nice bounce back. So as of right now, he is my highest drafted player. We'll see how that plays out. But picking here out of the 11 spot, I like the back-to-back. I prefer, if I'm not going to get a top 7 pick, I prefer to get the back-to-back. So don't love 11. 9, 10, 11, not my favorites. But you got to make the most out of it. So more likely than not, I'm looking at one of these receivers here, probably CeeDee Lamb, AJ Brown, or Davante Adams. So I'm fine with that. Maybe we get something that falls to us. But let's see how the board's shaking out so far. Typical Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase start. We get Tyreek Hill at number 3, Cooper Kupp 4, Diggs at 5, McCaffrey 6. So pretty typical start. I mean, McCaffrey you sometimes see go at number 3, falls a little bit there to 6, but nothing out of the ordinary. Kelsey goes 7. AJ Brown off the board at 8. Eckler goes 9. We are on deck. So let's see what's available to us. Yeah, if CeeDee Lamb is on the board, I'm going to go CD. Hopefully he takes Bijan, but nope, of course, takes the guy we want. I don't have much of CeeDee Lamb. Would I love to get a share of him there? So I will go Bijan Robinson and Bijan. Or do I go Devontae? I'll go Bijan, and I will grab a receiver either way with my next pick at 14. See what Peanut Butter Jelly Time does here. It's always tempting to just go receiver. I think Bijan at 11 compared to what he was going a few weeks ago was going in the top 5, top 6 all the time. So, okay, getting him there at 11. In a vacuum, I probably like Davante Adams better. I guess Jimmy G does scare me a little bit in the comments that he's come out with too. But that's why you do that. And you grab Davante Adams at 14. Love that. Absolutely love that in the second round. So Bijan Robinson, Davante Adams start. Let's see when my next pick comes around. It's 35 overall. So I've been dying to get some Ramondre Stevenson. His ADP is 28. It's just I haven't been picking in that range to get Ramondre and Breece Hall, and I'm dying to get more of those guys, but I just have not had the right draft position, and I can't see myself taking Ramondre over Davante Adams and reaching that far in the second round for him. So I'm gonna have to I have more drafts coming down the pipeline, so hopefully I have more mid round, or 5-6 picks where 5-6 overall where it lines up where I can get Ramondre, because I'm very light on him. I think I only have him in maybe 2% of these drafts, but he is one of my favorite values right there, in addition to Brees Hall. So let's take a look back at the board here. I don't really start thinking about week 17 until I get my third and fourth pick, because you don't really know how the board's going to shake out. So let's say with pick 38, I grab Drake London. Then I'm probably going to start thinking Atlanta. I'll start thinking, hey, do I grab Pitts? Can I grab Ritter later? Or the Colts play Vegas, so start thinking about that. Do I grab Anthony Richardson later, maybe to correlate with Devontae Adams? Do I grab Alec Pierce? So you start going down that road, and I can always pivot to a different stack. It doesn't have to be correlated to my first two picks. I could always, I could have Bijan, Devontae, but then go with two completely different stacks later on, depending how the board falls. So we'll see what happens with pick 35, 38, see who's on the board, and then we'll kind of take it from there. So after I went Devontae, we get Nick Chubb 15, Jonathan Taylor 16, Jalen Waddle 17, Chris Olave 18 to the Kelsey team. Team 6 overall grabs Saquon in the second round at 19. So nice running back start there with McCaffrey and Saquon. Devonta, Pollard, Higgins, Jacobs, and at the turn, the Jefferson team takes Mahomes and Hopkins, maybe trying to make that bet that Hopkins signs with the Chiefs. Jalen Hurts goes off the board at 26. I actually got Jalen Hurts in my last draft at 36. I was thrilled with that. It was an incredible value. And let's see what the team picking out of the 3-hole does. They've already got Tyreek and T. Higgins, so it seems like they're planning on pissing yellow. So see if they grab another receiver, and they do. DK Metcalf, so they go receiver. If Ramondre, if there's any chance that he could fall to me at 35, I would be so happy. But if not, happy taking another receiver. Derrick Henry goes at 30. So let's see who's still left on the board. Stevenson, Brees Hall, Calvin Ridley, Jackson, Mari Cooper are the top 5 left. So Stevenson goes as I expected. That's okay. And going forward, if I'm not in a position where I can pick Ramondre and I have to reach on him a little bit just to kind of balance things out, I will. I'm fine doing that. If I have to take him, in the early 20s as opposed to the late 20s, early 30s, I'm fine doing that. I will grab some Ramondre later. And Brees Hall is another guy I don't have a ton of, but we see Najee Harris there actually goes over Brees Hall, but Hall goes next. Let's see. I hate the 11 spot. I really do. Not a fan. But it's looking like what I'm going to do here is don't love Calvin Ridley. He goes anyways. So this is a sneaky kind of thing I've been doing. Well, I was going to say grab Lamar here and try and get Andrews on the way back, but Andrews went. I didn't see him go, but it's all right. I'll grab ETN, and I am going to, regardless of what happens here, take a receiver with my next pick. Gibbs is a name who always stands out to me too. I like Gibbs. I think he has a tremendous opportunity. Got the high draft capital, but it's always a tough decision for me. I like Amari. There is a chance that Hopkins lands in Cleveland. I love Christian Watson. Second-year breakout. I'm going to go Amari. I just feel more comfortable with his role. I feel more comfortable with Deshaun Watson being able to feed him targets. So it's very close between those two. But let's go back to the board. So I went ETN at 35, Amari Cooper at 38. Then we see Keenan Allen come off the board 39, Watson at 40, Jerry Jeudy 41. Don't always love going to running backs early, but I do think ETN is a pretty good value there at 35. Um, it's tough to say. It's Debo goes at 37. Would you rather have ETN or Debo? I think Debo does have that elite ceiling. He's not going to rush the ball as much with McCaffrey on the team. They don't need him to do that. So I think that season that he had a couple years ago is the best season he'll ever have. I don't think he's going to come close to replicating that. But that being said, I think he could still definitely be an wide receiver too, with possible wide receiver, like low end wide receiver one upside. So um, he's a viable option there as well. But I think him and Cooper are very similar. Very similar. It's the other thing too. I London goes 42. I could have gone London over Amari and tried to build in that Atlanta stack, but I do have a couple of those Atlanta stacks already. And I just don't know if Ritter is going to be able to is he going to be able to feed Pitts and London to the point where they're living up to their draft capital. I'm not sure about that. I can try and grab Pitts here at 59 and still get, continue that Atlanta stack. And the Falcons have Chicago week 17. So, the main Chicago Bears that I would have wanted, Fields and DJ Moore off the board already, but so wouldn't be too worried about trying to stack that week 17 game. More likely than not, I might try and grab Lawrence. He kind of correlates with ETN. I could grab a couple of Jaguars later, or I could go Deshaun Watson to stack with Amari. There's a ton of late stacking options for Vegas. So that's a possibility. I think more than anything here, I'm just going to look for best available at this next pick. Quick look at the board. Ayuk goes, Miles Sanders. Okay, so I'm on the clock. I think I got to go receiver here. I like Godwin, and I'm going to see if Pitts will fall to me. If he does, I'm happy grabbing him there at 62. Trevor Lawrence also still in play. I think Lawrence was phenomenal last year, and I think he takes even more of a leap this year. So I'm fine either way. I think so. That this is what I like right here is I'm securing either Pitts or Lawrence, no matter what. The question is, would it be smarter to go with a fourth receiver here, because it does get ugly at receiver. I mean, when you're down in this range, it's not the prettiest thing in the world, but Tight end falls off as well. So I'm gonna make the bet on Pitts. I'm gonna make the bet on Pitts. It was very close. I was thinking about either Lockett or Mike Evans right there. Don't love Hollywood. Just a messy kind of situation, but hoping, hoping that there's a seems like a little tear break here with after Traylon, and then I like Dotson, Gabe Davis, Pickens. I don't love Tony, but those three right there. If I could snag one of those one of those guys on the way back around and get Watson, I'd be thrilled. This team would have really good balance. So that's what I'm looking for right now. Let's take a look at the board. So the team at the turn, the 12 picking out of the 12 spot when Aaron Jones, Alexander Madison. I grabbed Chris Godwin as my third wide receiver, and then Kyle Pitts, and then Trevor Lawrence went right after Pitts. So it really was between those two. If you look at it, I think Lawrence is obviously going to give you more points on the season, and if he hits his ceiling, he is going to be, he has that top 3, top 4 quarterback potential. So maybe I might regret that one in hindsight, not going Lawrence over Pitts. But I mean, Pitts as a rookie put up 140 points at the tight end position. That was phenomenal. So if he can maybe replicate or improve upon that, he has top 5 tight end potential. And I mean, Kittle was there as well, but I just think the tight end board gets ugly after that. After Dallas Goedert, every single one of these guys is a question mark. So I like getting an elite tight end. I'm praying, keeping my fingers crossed that I could snag one of these receivers on the way back as my 4th receiver. Picking at 83, Watson's ADP is 84, so I might have to grab Watson first and then get my receiver, but it's scary with the person in front of you, the person after you going back to back, so they could just go receiver and kind of swipe the 2 guys that I might be looking at the receiver position. So see how the board shakes out. We have Goddard and Addison going at the turn. Kittle there at 70 overall is just tremendous value for that team. Goddard, Addison, then Deontay Johnson goes. Cam Akers to the team in the 3 hole. And the team picking 4th overall is on the clock. They go Quentin Johnston. So let's see what it looks like at receiver, because it does get ugly and it gets ugly fast. Gabe Davis goes, someone I would have been looking at. So I want either Dotson or Brandon Cooks. I'm fingers crossed one of them fall to me. I might have to take him over Watson and risk not getting Watson. Richardson goes 78. Wow. Wow, that's surprising, especially since he's been falling. His ADP is in the 80s. Yeah, his ADP is 95. So that was a bit of a reach. I've seen him actually drop well below that as well. So Tony goes, Dotson. I really would like Brandon Cooks here, and I don't get him. That's just that's frustrating. It's so frustrating. But it is what it is. That's what happens when you kind of play that game. Should I have taken Pitts? Should I have grabbed the receiver? I think Watson here is a no-brainer now. A little bit of a tier break possibly from him, even though Dak, Tua, Cousins, I like all those guys in that range. There's a lot of quality there. So he does go receiver. Don't like Michael Thomas, and Elijah Moore just makes the most sense here. Splashed as a rookie, disappointing second season for a variety of reasons, but makes sense with our build. So we'll go Elijah Moore here at pick 86. Let's go back to the board. Jameson Williams goes right after. He would have been an option for me as well, like the camp reports, but Elijah Moore just made way more sense. So far we got Watson at quarterback, running backs, Bijan, ETN, wide receivers, Devontae Adams, Amari Cooper, Chris Godwin, Elijah Moore, and tight end Kyle Pitts. So very nice balance. We're not hurting at any one position. Got our QB1, two high-end elite running backs, four very solid receivers. I would say three more is still a question mark. Who knows what he's going to do? Um, if his rookie year is any indication, the second half of his rookie year, he was a monster. But if last year was any indication that he kind of has a bad attitude and doesn't come off really as a team player, is the vibe that I got, that he's, quick to anger, quick to argue with coaching staffs, things like that. So I don't know if cursing out coordinators. I don't know if that's a great locker room guy, but we'll see. We'll see. Could be a shaky locker room to begin with. Watson is the leader of the locker room, so uh take that for what it is. Let's see what the board's doing. So after I went Elijah Moore at 86, we got Jamison Williams, Juju Smith-Schuster, Dak Prescott, Michael Thomas, Cortland Sutton, David Montgomery, DeAndre Swift, Rashad White, James Conner, and now the team out of the one slot is picking at 96 and 97. See what they do. But you see, after I took more there was a run on receivers. There was a run on receivers for the last two rounds, and that's where it really gets ugly. When you start getting past Juju Smith-Schuster, you're taking the Michael Thomases of the world, Cortland Sutton. Ugly range there, but a good range for running backs. You see these five in a row. I like every single one of them. In the 8th round, Montgomery, Swift, Rashad White, James Conner, and Zach Charbonnet. So that is a big positive for the people who want to go zero RB, to be able to get those guys at that range. I think Rashad White has running back one upside. Swift certainly does. We've seen it. Montgomery playing with that Detroit Lions offensive line could be a monster. He wouldn't be out of the range of outcomes that he puts up a Jamal Williams type season. Maybe not 17 touchdowns, but maybe 10, 12, behind that line. So like him a lot. James Conner doesn't have much competition behind him. Charbonnet with the second round draft capital, he's a steal. I feel like in that 8th, 9th round. So you see here, AJ Dillon, 99. I like all those running backs. So that makes me regret a little bit going Bijan over somebody like a St. Brown or a Garrett Wilson. I think Bijan could be the RB1. It's definitely in his range of outcomes. I think he's a special talent. I'm not saying anything groundbreaking there, but it's just the positional scarcity of wide receiver after you get past round 7. It just gets ugly. So just something to consider, something to keep in the back of your head. Running backs, the draft position of running backs has changed. If you're getting Derrick Henry in the 30s, Ramondre, all of these like monstrous RB1s going in the 3rd round, you have to kind of adjust your draft strategy and be more open to taking receivers in those first couple of rounds. So if I could do it over again, I probably would have went St. Brown or Wilson over Bijan. But you live and you learn. Every draft board is different. So that receiver range is gross. Would not take an unstacked Tua. So I think James Cook's a little tier break here as well. Grab James Cook, my 3rd running back. He's 11 picks past ADP. Love that. Maybe people are a little scared of the Dalvin Cook rumors floating around. Is he going to go to Miami? Could he possibly land in Buffalo and play with his brother? So there's some uncertainty there. Brian Robinson goes. So I might do something a little crazy here. The Browns play the Jets week 17. I might reach a bit here, grab me some Aaron Rodgers, be done at quarterback, and try and grab some Jets later on. I see Lazard's there. Could have grabbed Lazard. He's steady. He's very solid. He's like a floor guy. I don't love him. So fine grabbing Rodgers there, and I'll try and grab some late round Jets. Could always go with Tyler Conklin. Let's see who else will be a good option. Yeah, you can always grab a McCole Hardman, Corey Davis. So the only thing maybe I do like A-Chain, but there's also the Dalvin Cook rumors swirling around Miami as a possible landing spot. So yeah, he's a very light guy. He does have that game-breaking high-end speed, but could be used sparingly as a rookie, especially early in the season. Those veterans there, and if Cook signs, it's not a bright forecast for him, at least for next year. So fine with the Rodgers pick. It did feel like a reach with the quarterbacks on the board above him, but he makes too much sense here with this Cleveland stack I got going. And I don't have to. Obviously, Lazard went off the board, but not normally someone taking a naked quarterback. But I don't have to now worry about reaching up for any more Jets. Like most of the Lazard, Garrett Wilson are gone, Brees Hall is gone, but I'm looking more at those late round options, particularly Conklin. I think he's underrated. I think Rodgers will throw. He's proven he will throw to the tight end, and throw touchdowns to the tight end. He does look for the tight end in the red zone a lot, so that's a late stacking option. I think that allows me to be done at quarterback, and I can zone in here on grabbing a few more wide receivers, a couple more running backs, and balancing out the roster later. Also spend high on Pitts. So if I have to only go two and Conklin's my second guy, I'm fine with that. Let's take a look at the draft board. So I went Rodgers 110. Rashad Penny comes off the board right after him. Then you see Geno Smith, Samaje Perine, Lazard, Mooney, Damian Harris, Elijah Mitchell, Tua, A-Chain, Myers, Kendre Miller, Daniel Jones. So you can see there, like, I went Rodgers over Tua, Daniel Jones. I mean, some people might not recommend that. Geno Smith as well. Like he was fourth on that list, but he wouldn't have made it back to me with the Garrett Wilson owner. Actually, the Garrett Wilson owner picked 12, so I probably could have had Rodgers here, but I didn't see him lasting to 131 with an ADP around 110. So this is the range where quarterbacks were going. You see, after Rodgers, 4 of them went off the board. So not crazy there to grab him. I think it was fine. And the guy right here took Lazard. Say I didn't take Rodgers. He takes Lazard. He could have taken Rodgers here at 127. So not a guarantee he made it back. I do like him. I think he'll be rejuvenated with a new system and some new surroundings. So we're on the clock. I'm gonna go Sky Moore here. Like Sky Moore a lot. Second year breakout potential, and see what this guy does. But if Tank Bigsby's on the board, I'm gonna grab Tank, handcuff him to ETN, and like to start Sky Moore after ADP. James Cook well after ADP. So good balance. So Roger didn't have a 110 ADP. It was 119, but that's fine. I mean, that's not crazy. picking someone within 10 picks of their ADP is never too much of a reach. So I'll grab Bigsby here. Really like the running back core. I might grab one. Well, most likely we'll grab one more running back. I'm going to try and go heavy at receiver, get some upside guys, and Conklin late. See where Conklin goes. So yeah, Conklin goes 187. So 16th round, I believe. Really like that a lot. It's my second tight end. I think he's very solid. Let's look at the board. When you have a plan like that, like I'm already zeroing in on Conklin, I can understand why you shouldn't want to do that. Like you kind of have to let the board fall to you and make adjustments on the fly, which I feel like I am good at. I don't panic. I don't usually time out and things like that. Like I see a lot of these guys doing on here. Um, if you don't have the, you know, you're so zeroed in on one player, he gets taken, then your entire draft falls apart. You can't let that happen. You have to be able to pivot, move on, and make adjustments on the fly to still build a well correlated, well structured roster. But let's see what Conklin's ADP is. And you know what? Conklin shouldn't be a guy who makes or breaks your draft. I can always grab another tight end later. I just don't want a completely naked Aaron Rodgers. I would like to get at least one or two of his pass catchers. So his ADP is 187. And I pick 179 and 182. So hopefully he's still there in that range. If I could grab him at 182, it's a few picks before ADP, but I'm fine with it. Um, I'd be extremely happy with that. Like how the team is set up so far. So we see I went Tank Sky Moore 131, Tank Bigsby 134. At 135, we got Dulcich and MVS, Rondale Moore, Derek Carr, Dalton Schultz, Jalen Warren, Tyler Higbee, Jerick McKinnon, Jonathan Mingo at the turn, Romeo Dobbs, Roshan Johnson, and then we get Jalen Hyatt. So let's see if there's any one thing I don't like about underdogs, you try to click on another team, and as soon as the next pick is made, it clicks off of them. See if there's any weird builds, because I have seen a couple lately, teams that could potentially get thrown out. So ooh, Taekwon goes at 149. I have so much Taekwon, but I was getting him in the last round, the 17th round, a little bit in the 16th round. So that makes me feel good. I absolutely love Taekwon Thornton, but I don't think I'll be taking him here now at 1/3 at in the 13th round, 149. This guy takes him ahead of ADP. Unless I specifically have some Patriot stacks. And I would like to start getting some Ramondre. So it's kind of unfortunate that Thornton's now getting steamed up before I had a chance to get a lot of Ramondre, but it is what it is. So we're 2 picks away. I could also grab Komet here because he does correlate with Pitts and Bijan, and I do like him. I think he's a value. ADP is 142. We're picking at 155. So I might grab him. I like Algier as well, and I think he's one of the better handcuffs out there. I'm going to grab Komet as my second tight end, and I'm still fine grabbing Conklin later. I'm fine going with 3 tight ends for sure. Let's see if he grabs Algier, if he does, that's okay. I'm just gonna snag DPJ and make that big bet on the Cleveland stack. I think I might grab DPJ either way. He did have a nice year last year. I know they brought in a rookie. Yeah, they brought in Cedric Tillman, who they do like, and was good. He was injured last year in college, but the year before that, he was excellent. He was actually the better player between him and Hyatt. So it's a tough call because they do only have 4 running backs. I would love to just anything happen to Bijan. I think Algier steps in as a monster, but I am gonna go DPJ. And who knows, maybe Algier sticks around to my next pick. I doubt it. We're 20 picks away and he's at the top of the board. So highly unlikely, but you never know. It's tough to see a rookie who put up 1,000 yards. And I understand he doesn't catch the ball. You look at the catches, only 16 receptions. I think part of that was Mariota. Like he just doesn't dump down. He doesn't do anything well, really, besides if he is a wide open lane running the ball. But I mean, 5 yards a carry, 1,000 yards. Without a doubt, will have a reduced role, but I don't think he's completely phased out of the offense after having that kind of success. So, do a little rundown of the team, and then I'll get back to the board. Deshaun Watson, Aaron Rodgers at quarterback, running back, Bijan Robinson, Travis Etienne, James Cook, Tank Bigsby. Wide receiver, we get Devontae Adams, Amari Cooper, Chris Godwin, Elijah Moore, Sky Moore, Donovan Peoples-Jones, and at tight end, Kyle Pitts, Cole Kmet. Take a look at the board. We're 13 picks away, so we get quite a while before we pick again, but that's the range coming up where I'm going to be looking at Conklin. So let's see where the tight ends are. See, that's what's scary is that he's 4th right now on the tight end list, so I could honestly see him getting snatched up. But you look at these 3 teams right in a row: 2 tight ends, 2 tight ends, 2 tight ends, 2 tight ends, 4 teams in a row. So bunch of teams already with 2 tight ends. So I don't think it's out of the range of possibilities that I can get Conklin with my next pick. Let's go to the board. So my last wraparound, I went Cole Kmet at 155, DPJ at 158, and then we get DJ Chark, John Mechie, Jeff Wilson, Rashid Shaheed, Brock Purdy, Kenny Pickett, Wan'Dale Robinson, Jerome Ford. Algier goes at 167. So he made it well past my last couple picks, but Alec Pierce, Jaden Reed at the turn. That's actually, I mean, you're talking about upside guys who could break out. Pierce is the second year breakout potential, and then Jaden Reed, the rookie with the high draft capital. Excellent picks there by team out of the 1 spot. And I'm sure they're building in. Yeah, they got Jefferson, so I'm sure they're trying to get a lot of that Packers Vikings game week 17. Zeke Elliott goes 170. He's still yet to sign. I'm sure that's something that's going to happen much later in training camp, but not really much buzz or news around Elliott. KJ Osborne goes. So we're 7 picks away. I'm going to throw Conklin in the queue. Yeah, Conklin, Hardman. Could always maybe try and grab a Corey Davis later. I think Corey Davis has a chance to get cut, or if they bring somebody else in. I don't know if he has a definitive role as of now. But you know how Rodgers is. He loves his veterans. And yeah, they signed Randall Cobb as well. Not that I well, I refuse to take any Randall Cobb. The guy is like 35 at this point, but Rogers is stubborn, and I'm sure he'll still find a way to work him in a couple games. But Gainwell. So Conklin's there. I think, do I go Conklin first and then Hardman? I'll go Conklin just because his ADP is a little higher. Hoping that this guy right here does not peanut butter jelly time. Don't screw me. See if I can grab Hardman. It wouldn't shock me if he takes him with one of these picks right here, though. He goes Taysom Hill for his second tight end. I just have a pretty good feeling he's going receiver here. And I hope he doesn't take my guy. Nope, he goes running back. Deonta Foreman. So I will grab Hardman a little ahead of ADP, but that's okay. He does have that game-breaking speed and that spike week potential if he can, get free down the field and Rogers hits him on a long bomb. So I'm good with that. He's not. I don't need him. He's my seventh receiver, so not somebody I'm relying on. I'm done at tight end. Done at quarterback. So last two picks are either going to be two running backs or a receiver and a running back. Either way, I think this is a nice, well-balanced team. And now this begs the question, do I go with somebody like Corey Davis? Who's, getting up there towards 30? Just reading the news here about Corey Davis. So 28 years old, not in that real danger, scary range in terms of age. Elijah Moore did get traded, and there's not much depth behind him. So I think I will go Corey Davis. I think he could thrive with a guy like Rogers. I'll go Corey Davis if he's there, and I love Pierre Strong. I think he's just being completely overlooked. And I could go with a guy like Abanaconda, but I don't see him flashing early on. It's a little bit muddled. I know they don't love Michael Carter. It's the reason why they drafted Abanaconda. You always want to have depth at running back, so obviously it's not a complete indictment on him, but it's a little muddy, the backfield there, and I don't see Abanaconda really getting in there as a rookie. I do see Pierre Strong having a role. I think he beats out James Robinson for that RB2, and I know they want to reduce Ramondre's workload a little bit. He was just playing pretty much every snap last year, so Pierre Strong got that game-breaking speed, and I think he would be a good fit here on this roster. You look at Fournette too, and it's like everyone wants to say Fournette's Dustin. I mean, you look at the fantasy points, 221 in 2021 and even 190 last year, 73 catches. So I know he does a lot of his work in the receiving game, and Tom Brady is just a dump down quarterback a lot of the time last year because their offensive line wasn't good. And he was the benefit of that. Fournette with 73 catches and Rachaad White had 50. So you're talking about 120 catches out of the backfield. I don't see that repeating. And more likely than not, he's not going to be back on the Buccaneers. So as much as I would probably like to take Fournette here, I'm going to stick with my guns, and I'm going to go Pierre Strong. This would have been a good build to grab Jerome Ford. I don't think I have any Jerome Ford, but did not happen for me. So I'll go Corey Davis as my 8th receiver. Figured he would be there. Gets the support of the coach, according to the news. Who knows? But was able to. A little scary there. Not your favorite options for Aaron Rodgers if you're building out a stack. Obviously, you want Breece Hall and Garrett Wilson most of all, and Lazard to an extent. But feel good about that. Don't have any Jets Brown stacks. Not that it could be, not that it'll be the sexiest game, but you never know. You can't really predict this time of year how things are going to play out. So that was my first kind of Jets Brown stack of the draft season. And I'll grab Pierre Strong here just to finish out my running backs. So do a quick breakdown of my team. Deshaun Watson, Aaron Rodgers at quarterback. Running backs Bijan, Travis Etienne, James Cook, Tank Bigsby, Pierre Strong. Wide receiver, we got Devontae Adams, Amari Cooper, Chris Godwin, Elijah Moore, Sky Moore, DPJ, McCole Hardman, Corey Davis, and at tight end, Kyle Pitts, Cole Kmet, Tyler Conklin, which feel great about that tight end group. Feel good about those top 4 receivers. Hopefully Sky Moore has a bit of a breakout. That would be fantastic. Maybe DPJ can continue what he did last year. Either way, I think whoever spikes into the Browns lineup, I have them. I have all 3 of the Browns receivers. Would have liked to maybe get Chubb on this build, but obviously wasn't a possibility. And we'll just take a look at the last. I like watching the last round sometimes. See, people get different. People take shots in the last round, like I did with Pierre Strong there. There's a lot of names I like in the 17th as well. Dawson Knox, I think, is an insane value. He's gotten pushed down the board so far because of Kincaid, and I don't think that's right. Tank Dell, Mike Gesicki going to a new team could have a nice impact. Josh Palmer, who played well last year, could maybe still carve out a role, even though they did draft Quentin Johnson. See Trey Lance there at 209. If Trey Lance has moved, or if Trey Lance actually performs in training camp and does get on the field, what an absolute steal he's going to be in the 18th round. Now, from everything you hear, it's not looking likely, but you got to take that shot. It's worth it to take that shot in the 18th round, 100%. So pretty standard draft for the most part, I would say. Like my team, not my favorite team, but I like it. I think it has good balance. I would probably, like I said, maybe have gone receiver there instead of Bijan. So for whatever reason, it always glitches, never shows the last pick of the draft on the computer. I usually do the drafts on my phone, but since I've been streaming, I've been doing them on the computer, and for whatever reason, it just it stops there at the last pick on Underdog. So I'll wrap this up anyways. 2583 build. And I hope you guys enjoyed the video today. I'm going to try and start pumping out more of these, and I'm getting a little more comfortable as I get into it. I'm new at this, but as time goes on, I know I'll get better, and I hope this gives you guys some insight just from the regular person's perspective of drafting. Did a lot last year, had some success, so hopefully can continue that this year. And hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, if you could leave me a like, subscribe, leave a comment, let me know what you think of the video. I'd really appreciate it. So, DJ Nation, signing out.